Sometime in the second half of the 1800s, a similar game was gaining popularity in India.
We have a picture here of badminton being played in Simla in India. This is 1864, and you can see that it's a normal court as well, been marked out, and they're playing with quite large shuttlecocks as well. That's the earliest photograph we have of badminton being played in India. This is another photograph of badminton being played in 1867 in India. Well, you can see from that photograph there, in 1864, they were certainly using a net. It's slightly higher than 5 foot, but you can see they were using a net there. And again, in 1867, they were using a net there. This is a photograph of badminton being played in Peshawar in India in 1874. You can see that the courts, it's well played because the courts are worn out. The grass is worn out there.
Evident through various texts and images, a game involving rackets and shuttlecocks with a net dividing the sides was popular among British officers in the city of Pune. In fact, this game came to be called Pune after the Indian city. Some believe the Pune game was where it all began.
But as far as the history goes and all that, I mean, where it started, as everybody probably knows, that it started somewhere in Pune, so they say.
The game originated in India, went back to England, got modified, and probably has become one of the most popular sports in the country now.
For me, of course, Pune is the name which we come. It was played by the Britishers when they were in here.
That's the general this thing. It started in Pune by some Britishers and the soldiers who used to play.
And there's a county called Badminton back in England, and that's where its name come from.
The Pune game was likely born at the Khaki Barracks in Pune, where officers in the British Army played the sport. The history of the Pune club also dates back to the 1860s and was used by the military garrison stationed in the city. The sport was also played here. The Pune clubhouse and library were unfortunately destroyed by a devastating fire in August 1945, and with it any recorded evidence of its association with the sport. However, based on pictures that were being sent back to England, we can only imagine scenes like this. India in the late 19th century. Men and women serving the British Empire enjoying a game of Pune or badminton. Regardless of what it was called, what is undisputable is India's historical contribution to the popularity of the sport.
We know that for a fact that the game was started in Badminton House in 1863, but it wasn't very popular in this country for probably the next 10 years. It wasn't popular. It didn't grow very much at all, but it was taken, I believe, by army officers to India, and there it became extremely popular. We know with the civil service people who were out there, it became really popular. And then in about 1873, it started to come back to this country, and people in the paper were talking about this new game of badminton. But it had already been invented 10 years prior, but it certainly became more popular from 1873.